Yeah, hi.
Hi, my name is Alan Hauschild. I'm a certified financial planner with Heritage Financial Services here in Omaha, Nebraska. Over the years, my specialty has kind of been working with seniors and their families, especially when you're dealing with a chronic health issue. And a lot of times that can be ALS, it can be Parkinson's, it can be Alzheimer's, dementia, or just getting cancer. And so I help a lot of folks. Get ready for retirement, and then we're ready to retirement. We look at everything in regards to Social Security, Medicare, and seeing what we can do to preserve assets. So there's a couple things I'm going to touch on today in the next 15 or 20 minutes here. Number one, it sounds like everybody on the line has signed up for Medicare. And if you've already signed up for Medicare, the first screenshot here it isn't necessary because you've already probably applied for Medicare, and you've also probably applied for Social Security or Social Security disability. So those are all things that I can help you out with. But what you're going to find, since you have a diagnosis of ALS, you quickly get to the front of the line for approval. And that's usually a pretty smooth process. But this is just kind of like a guide that will kind of walk you through how to apply for Social Security and or Medicare. And so that's something that I can always cover. Moving forward with Medicare, it sounds like a lot of people have already made the decision, but I think what I always like to do is kind of walk you through big picture, what is Medicare, and if you have employer benefits or not. But there's multiple parts of Medicare. You're basically eligible for Medicare once you receive the diagnosis of ALS. And if you're under the age of 65, you can become enrolled in the Medicare Advantage plan, okay? And so excuse me. Lost my screenshot there. So with the Medicare Advantage plan, you have the ability to, there we go. So with Medicare Advantage, you're able to sign up prior to age 65 if you're on Social Security disability. And with Medicare Advantage, you're able to basically have a comprehensive package of Medicare Parts A, B, C, and D. And so that's kind of what you're on. If it's Medicare, and I apologize, the screen cut out there, but this kind of talks about when your open enrollment period is. So October 15th to December 7th is when you can, re-enroll in a different Medicare plan if you're looking. So the Medicare Advantage, you have different companies. Humana, United Healthcare are probably the top two that I see out there, at least here locally. There's lots of different companies that offer it. So we have Medicare Advantage open enrollment period. And also special enrollment period. So if you're newly diagnosed, you can sign up for Medicare whenever you like, okay? So with the Medicare Advantage, you're traditionally working with an insurance company. The other alternative that we have here is if you go with a Medicare supplement plan, that's kind of the second option you have to choose from. So if you're age 65 and older, you can choose to be on a Medicare supplement. And very simply, that's where parts A and B are basically set up. So probably Social Security Administration is deducting. I'm sorry, that screen's not working either. So what you're going to find there with the Medicare supplement, they'll probably be deducted from your Social Security check, and that's where you pay, kind of like a monthly amount. And then G is probably the most prevalent plan that's out there. But you do have the ability to kind of change around plans. You also have flexibility with the Medicare supplement plan of selecting different prescription plans. And prescription plans change every year, and so that's the area that you can kind of see. Maybe you can find some price savings when you shop annually or at least every 3 years. Okay. The next item I was going to cover, moving away from Medicare, is your legal documents. Now, I don't have a flyer for this, but there's 4 main legal documents that you need to have. The first one is a will, and that's the one most people are familiar with. And I know when I grew up and created a will, like in 2000, that was the only document you needed. But with the HIPAA that was passed through, it changed the information they can share with your loved ones. And with the HIPAA, that's where you need four forms now. So first off, you need your will, and that just stipulates who's going to be the executor and how to handle the estate. The second document that you need is a healthcare power of attorney. And so your healthcare power of attorney, you select a major healthcare power of attorney, and then a secondary power of attorney. So that person can make decisions on your healthcare. So you'll see hospitals, if you ever go in for a hospital, they always require that right away. The third document you need is a financial power of attorney. Sometimes it's known as a durable power of attorney. And the financial power of attorney allows folks to basically handle the checkbook for you while you are alive and you're unable to do it for yourself, okay? Now, power of attorneys become void once that person passes away, okay? And so that's why it's important to have your will document set up, okay? But the power of attorneys are very important. The fourth item is what's called a living will or an advance directive. And this just basically stipulates how you'd like, how you'd like to be cared for if you reach a certain level of care. So those are the four main documents that any attorney, if you say you need a will, that they should be preparing for you. The fifth document, which is optional, really kind of depends upon if we're trying to protect any assets, and that is a trust. And usually attorneys, they ask for big money when it comes to a trust. And so with a trust, it helps you protect assets, usually from civil lawsuits. It could be to try to preserve the assets, pass on to the next generation, or it could be Medicaid planning. So some folks, if we're spending a lot of money for a chronic health issue and we're going to have the issue for multiple years, it might make sense to get a hold of an elder law attorney where they can help protect some assets while you're in the Medicaid spend down before you get to Medicaid. So those are all different strategies that are out there. I just wanted to make everybody aware of it. With the state of Nebraska, Medicaid is basically $4,000 for an individual. So what that means, you spend down all your assets down to $4,000 as a single person. That's when Medicaid comes in and takes care of all of your health care after that, okay? And so with that, you do get $60 a month to share. So they kind of take everything from your Social Security check to make payments if you need assisted living or skilled care. But that's kind of how Medicaid works. As a couple, you're able to preserve about $126,000 if we're spending down for medical reasons, okay? All right, so any questions so far? All right, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and move on. Now, the year 2020, as you all know, has been a crazy, crazy year, and we have seen a lot. So there's a couple things that impact businesses or individuals and businesses that I wanted to share. So referring to the screen, there was the CARES Act was released earlier this year. And it impacts multiple things that probably impact you. So if you are taking RMDs, and RMDs very simply means required minimum distributions. That's basically when you get to age 70 and 1/2, you basically have to take certain money out of your retirement account so Uncle Sam can get their tax dollars. And so that's where you start taking RMDs. They did change the RMD rules for 2020. So if, for example, you're turning 70 and 1/2 this year, you don't have to take an RMD because the new rule is in 2020 is 72 is the new RMD age, okay? So that's a law change that happened this year, okay? The next thing I like to point out here, this applies to all IRAs, qualified and inherited IRAs, where you're not, you don't have to take your RMDs in 2020. So what I would recommend is contact your financial institution. If you don't feel like you need your RMD, just tell them to skip it for this year and defer it to the next year. But once again, if you're over 59 and a half, you can take whatever you like from your qualified accounts, either IRA or 401k, to use for distributions. Okay. Going to move forward here. They did make a change to the beneficiary rules. So say, for example, you're looking to pass on your IRA accounts to your children or grandchildren, whoever it might be. They did make a change in 2020. So moving forward, if you pass the money on to your kids, for example, and it's an IRA account, they have to take distributions over a 10-year period, and that eliminates what's called the stretch IRA. So let me define the stretch IRA. The stretch IRA, before, if you pass on money to your children, and say, for example, your child was 48, it would go off their life expectancy, and so their RMD amounts would be really small. So they get to spread it out over their lifetime. And Uncle Sam, in its infinite wisdom, realized they could collect taxes faster and at a higher rate if their kid, you know, when you pass on the next generation, they have to take it in a 10-year period. And so that's kind of something to be mindful of if you have IRAs or 401k balances, when you're doing some legacy planning, if you're looking to pass that on to children. Okay. So here we've got a couple things in regards to qualified retirement accounts. So if anyone still has a 401k, you are able to draw a greater balance from the qualified retirement account. Probably most folks, if you're retired, 401ks don't want to deal with sending you a check every month. So that's when people take the money from the 401k and roll it into an IRA. An IRA just gives you more flexibility to choose the funds, and you have more access to the information, especially getting the distribution sent out to you. Okay. Okay, moving forward. All right, I am having technical difficulties again. All right, I'm going to close this. Okay, I apologize for the delay. Looks like I'm going to have to go without, but basically the CARES Act, those were some of the major provisions. Unemployment was something that was added this year with the COVID. So that was $600 per week, and that is currently expired, but they are in negotiations to see if that's something that can be restarted for folks that are impacted by COVID. And I think those are the major items I wanted to cover for retirement accounts. Any questions on IRAs, 401ks, any COVID-related legislation this year?
This is more of a general question, but who do people typically find these changes out about from? Who typically
traditionally, probably your tax planner,
okay,
or your financial advisor. Those are probably the two people that will be talking to you this year about the changes, because at the end of December of 2019 is when the RMD rules changed, and you know, the elimination of the stretch IRA. And then 3 months later, we had the CARES Act come out, and there were numerous provisions there. So, and I'm happy to help with any questions as well.
I thought you were just supposed to say you're supposed to contact me, Alan.
Oh, and you can also contact me. Yes, thank you. That's a great idea. So, so those are some of the things that I wanted to cover in regards to Medicare. The legal, I think, is an important thing to get your documents in place if you haven't done so. You can either contact your local attorney, or if your needs are pretty straightforward and simple, there is a legal subscription service called Hauschild. That's $25 per month subscription rate, and you're able to get your documents done probably in a matter of a couple months. And I just find that to be an economical way of getting your important documents done. Now, you're not sitting face to face with an attorney, but it is a proven legal estate planning firm here in Lincoln that takes care of the documents and gets them out to you. So that's probably an alternative too. That's not widely known, but you can get legal documents done at a very good rate there. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Is anyone currently working with their group employer in regards to dealing with group benefits, 401ks, pensions, anything like that? Okay. Okay. Those are all things that if you need help with rollovers or dealing with company benefits. Prior, I worked with a company called Paychecks for about 15 years, so I'm very familiar with group benefits, individual benefits, 401k retirement plans, IRAs, and then especially I work a lot with CPAs. So there we're trying to develop strategies to reduce your taxable income while also being able to create legal strategies to pass your money onto the next generation in the most economical manner possible. So to be honest with you, I think that's all I've got for tonight, Emily. Can we
Okay.
open up for questions?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, and then if you want to share, kind of the best way for people to get in touch with you, that would be great too, in case there are questions that we think of after.
Yes, yes. I've been very fortunate to work with the ALS Association for several months. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here.
Okay.
And so that way we can get back to pictures. Yeah, I've been working with the association for several years. And so the nice thing about my practice is I always like to, if you want to sit down and talk through things, there's no cost to do so. And a lot of times I do comprehensive financial planning, that I look at everything to make sure that everything is in place, or put you in contact with the right person. So the best way to reach me, and I don't have a slideshow on my phone number, but if you have a pen handy, let me give you my cell number. That's always the best way to reach me, and I'm happy to help with any questions you have. My phone number is 402-201-4006. Once again, that's 402-201-4006. And it's Alan Hauschild, Heritage Financial. I'm a certified financial planner, and then I'm also a certified long-term care specialist. So I act as a fiduciary for my clients, which is a higher level of standard that I provide more so than 98% of the advisors out there. So that way I give bad advice, I open myself up legally to be sued. So if you're working with a person you trust, terrific. But if you're not, I recommend, if it's not me, work with somebody else who's a certified financial planner. You'll get the best deal in regards to what your needs are, as opposed to what my needs are. Okay? So I want to thank everybody for your time tonight. Do we have any questions before I get off the call here?
I'm all good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good stuff.
You bet. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here. I'll shoot you my questions via email. It's just kind of whenever they pop into my head. So I appreciate you being that resource for us.
Absolutely. And Emily, if you have my email, if you want to share that with the group as well, that'd be wonderful. But I want to thank everybody for your time tonight. Have a great night. Take care.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Bye-bye.